The video opens with that raw energy, diving straight into the heart of what just went down in the streets. A real paper route affiliate, somebody who actually rides hard for young Dolph's legacy, caught wind that Hernandez Goven was on Instagram Live and he pulled up in seconds, physically showing up to confront this man on site. No warning, no long debate, just straight boom, action in the moment. The video is blowing up everywhere right now. His name is Costalia Sammy on Instagram, and he went ahead and did what so many people in the community have been wanting to see happen for years. But before we jump into that clip and break it all the way down, I need y'all to really lock in and understand the full story behind Hernandez Goven. You got to know what the police said he did, how he managed to beat the case, what happened once he got out, and even the heavy tragedy that struck his own daughter. Without that complete picture, you won't grasp just how deep this situation runs or why that pull-up hit so hard for so many. Stay locked in, because we're going from the very beginning all the way to the end. By the time this is over, you'll see exactly why Costalia Sammy moved the way he did and why nobody in the paper route camp is losing any sleep over it. Let's get into it properly. For those who might be new to this or just catching the wave, welcome to the conversation. We have to roll the clock back to November 17th, 2021. That date hits different for anybody who was truly locked into Memphis rap and the culture that built it from the ground up. That's the day young Dolph was taken from us, shot and killed inside Makata's homemade butter cookie spot in Memphis, Tennessee. It wasn't some random location either. This was a community place he frequented, a spot where he connected with the people, showed love, and kept it real in his own city. Young Dolph wasn't just another rapper making hits, he represented a whole movement. Paper Route Empire stood for independence, owning your masters, building your brand on your terms without selling out to the big machines. He inspired countless artists to step up, take control of their careers, and move with that same self-made energy. Losing him felt like losing a piece of the culture itself, and the whole world felt that pain ripple out. The grief was real, the anger was real, and the questions about who was behind it started swirling immediately. Right away, law enforcement zeroed in on a couple of key names as the alleged shooters: Justin Johnson, known as Straight Drop, and Cornelius Smith. Those cases got a lot of attention and have been documented heavily over time. But there was this third name that bubbled up in the investigation, one that maybe didn't dominate the mainstream headlines as much, but was buzzing loud in Memphis streets and among those plugged into the scene. That name was Hernandez Goven. He wasn't charged as one of the actual shooters who walked into the store that day. What the authorities alleged was something different but just as serious in the eyes of the law. They painted him as playing a key role in the conspiracy that led up to young Dolph's death. Specifically, they claimed he helped with planning and coordination, including facilitating the procurement of the white Mercedes that was used in the murder. Think about that for a minute. In conspiracy cases, you don't have to be the one pulling the trigger to face the full weight of the charges. If you're part of the planning, providing resources, or helping set things in motion, prosecutors can hold you accountable just like the hands-on perpetrators. That's how the legal system is structured in this country. Distance doesn't matter if your actions connect you to the plot. Hernandez Goven got arrested and caught that charge, and at the time, the entire community was watching closely because this was young Dolph we were talking about. Dolph wasn't some distant celebrity, he was family to so many in Memphis, a symbol of what it meant to rise up and stay solid. People wanted full accountability across the board. The case moved forward with the prosecution building their argument around that conspiracy angle, trying to show he was a willing participant. But when it came down to it in court, the specific evidence tying him directly to knowing involvement in the criminal plot didn't meet the threshold for conviction. I'm not sitting here as a legal expert dissecting every filing, but the bottom line is clear. Hernandez Goven walked free, he beat the case, and that outcome landed like a gut punch for a lot of folks who love Dolph. In the court of public opinion, especially in the streets of Memphis, people had already connected the dots based on what came out during the investigation. Seeing him acquitted felt like an open wound that never fully closed for many. What made it sting even more was how Hernandez Goven carried himself after getting out. A lot of people in similar situations choose to lay low, stay out of the spotlight, and move quietly after dodging something that heavy. They understand the gravity of what they just escaped and adjust accordingly, living life without drawing extra attention. That's the smart play, the rational move that keeps the peace. But Hernandez Goven took a completely different route. Once he was back on the streets, he started popping up in interviews, going on live sessions, hitting podcasts, and doing sit-down conversations. The energy wasn't that of a man humbled by a narrow escape from serious time. It came across as something else entirely, almost like he was leaning into the notoriety, embracing the stories swirling around his name and the connection to Dolph's murder. Supporters might argue he was just clearing his name and defending himself against false accusations. That's a fair perspective on the surface, and everybody deserves their chance to speak. But to many watching from the Dolph side, the way he moved, the things he said, and the overall vibe read like someone building street credibility off the tragedy. It felt like using Dolph's death as a stepping stone for clout, and in Memphis, in those tight-knit paper route circles, and in the broader community that held Dolph dear, that landed as straight disrespect. Young Dolph had a family who loved him deeply. He had Key by his side, children who looked up to him, and an entire empire of artists and supporters who built alongside him. His loss created voids that still echo today. To watch someone allegedly tied to that pain come out and do press runs, talking about it with that kind of swagger, hit like a slap to everyone mourning. The streets have long memories. They don't just forget overnight, especially when the person in question seems to be chasing a reputation built on the very thing that took a legend away. This behavior kept the frustration simmering for years, building up tension that eventually boiled over in that viral confrontation. Now we have to touch on the heartbreaking part that adds even more layers to this story. Hernandez Goven's own daughter was killed later on. Losing a child is a pain that cuts deeper than anything else in this world. It doesn't matter what streets you come from or what beefs are in play. That kind of grief shatters you in ways you can't repair. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy because it transcends all the politics, all the codes, and all the drama. Young Dolph left behind kids too, young ones who grew up without their father because of that day in 2021. Violence like this creates ripple effects that destroy families across the board. Children end up carrying burdens they never asked for, growing up with holes in their lives where a parent should be. It's a cycle that keeps claiming more victims, more pain, and more broken homes. I'm not calling what happened to his daughter karma or some form of payback. I don't play with children's lives like that, and nobody should. But it does make you reflect on how the choices people make, the paths they walk after high-profile cases, and the environments they stay in can lead to more tragedy. Hernandez Goven's post-case trajectory didn't seem to bring peace or reflection. Instead, it kept him in the mix, visible and vocal, and that environment has consequences that sometimes hit the innocent hardest. Real lives are attached to these stories. Real families grieve in silence while the internet debates. Holding space for that human side gives the whole situation its proper weight and context as we move forward. Fast forward to right now, and that's where this latest chapter explodes. Hernandez Goven decided to hop on Instagram Live. With everything attached to his name, the history, the allegations, the community feelings, going live like that in a city with memories as long as Memphis is risky. But he did it anyway. Word got to Castalia Sammy, a solid paper route affiliate who moves in those circles and has been vocal about standing up for Dolph's name. Whether he saw the live himself or somebody tipped him off with the location, Sammy didn't hesitate. He pulled up physically to where Hernandez Goven was at. What followed was that raw confrontation caught on video. The one spreading like wildfire across every platform. It got physical quick, and the footage shows exactly what went down. In certain circles, Castalia Sammy is being hailed as somebody who stood on business. He's seen as the one who finally did what the system didn't, addressing the disrespect head-on for Dolph, for Paper Route, for Memphis. And for everybody who felt justice fell short in the courts. To understand why the reaction is so strong, you have to zoom out on the bigger picture. When someone is alleged to be connected to the murder of a figure as impactful as young Dolph, beats the case through legal technicalities, and then moves publicly in a way that feels like taunting or capitalizing on it, it creates a deep sense of unfinished business. The legal system has its rules. Innocent until proven guilty is the foundation, and not getting convicted means you walk free by those standards. But in the streets, in the communities that actually live this loss, perception runs different. People see cases fall apart because witnesses won't testify, evidence gets thrown out on procedural grounds, or other factors that have nothing to do with the truth on the ground. They've watched it happen too many times. So when Hernandez Goven started doing all those interviews and carrying himself with that energy, it felt to many like he was telling on himself. confirming the street's suspicions through his actions and attitude. That's why the support for Sammy's move is loud right now. It's not just about one fight, it's about loyalty, about grief that never healed, and about a code where some things can't be ignored forever. Let me take a moment to paint a fuller picture of who Castalia Sammy seems to be based on what's out there. From his Instagram presence and the word from people in his circles, this isn't some random clout chaser jumping on a trending moment for views. He's got genuine ties to the paper route family and the values Dolph stood for. He's been consistent in speaking out against those he believes played any part in Dolph's death. The feelings had been building for a long time. Seeing Hernandez Goven on live, comfortable and accessible like nothing ever happened, apparently pushed it to the breaking point. In street terms, going live in that situation with that kind of history is what they call getting caught lacking. You can't be that out in the open when so many hold grudges tied to such a heavy loss. Hernandez Goven learned that lesson in real time. The video captured it all, and the comment sections across social media are flooded with reactions that tell the story. There's little sympathy flowing his way in this moment. Instead, people are processing a mix of vindication, shock, and reflection on how these cycles continue. This incident ties directly back into the enduring legacy of young Dolph. Adolph Thornton Jr. came from South Memphis, one of the hardest environments imaginable, and turned his life into something extraordinary through pure determination, hustle, and sharp business sense. He rejected the traditional label deals that many artists chase, choosing independence at a time when everybody said it couldn't be done. Paper Route Empire became more than a label. It was a blueprint for self-reliance, a philosophy that empowered others to control their own destinies in the music game and beyond. His music, his message, and his actions resonated because they were authentic. He gave back to the community, stayed connected to his roots, and built something lasting. When he was killed, the outpouring of love and tributes showed just how deep his impact ran. Key and the family handled the aftermath with strength and grace, keeping the empire moving forward in his honor. That grief didn't fade. It transformed into a fierce protectiveness over his name and what he represented. Seeing someone like Hernandez Goven out here after beating the case, doing interviews and living publicly in a way that seemed to poke at that open wound, reignited all those emotions. It reminded people that while the courts might close a file, the streets carry the weight indefinitely. Loyalty in this culture isn't just words, it's action. It's remembering who stood for something real and refusing to let their memory get disrespected. Castalia Sammy's decision to pull up wasn't random violence or internet theatrics. From the perspective of those riding for Dolph, it was about consequences for ongoing behavior that felt like a direct challenge. Hernandez Goven chose visibility. He chose to engage publicly. In doing so, he created the opening that led to this moment. Now the video is out there and he's viral again, but under circumstances he didn't control. It's a stark reminder that actions have repercussions, especially in environments where trust, respect, and history run deep. Expanding on the legal side a bit more. Conspiracy charges are tricky because they rely on connections between people, communications, and shared intent. Prosecutors have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the person knew what was happening and willingly participated. In high-profile cases like this, with community pressure and intense scrutiny, every detail gets examined. Hernandez Goven's defense apparently poked enough holes in the specific links to him that the jury or the process didn't result in guilt. That's the system working as designed, but it leaves room for doubt and alternative narratives in the public eye. Many in Memphis have stories of similar cases where justice felt incomplete due to systemic issues, witness intimidation, or other street realities that courts don't always capture. This gap between legal outcomes and street perceptions is what fuels so much of the tension we see play out. On the human side, the tragedy with Hernandez Goven's daughter brings everything full circle in a painful way. It highlights how violence begets more violence, how one incident can echo through generations. Families on both sides of these stories suffer. Dolph's children navigate life without their dad, learning about his impact through music and stories. Hernandez Goven's family deals with their own irreplaceable loss. It's a sobering reality that no amount of viral videos or street confrontations can fix. It calls for deeper conversations about breaking cycles, protecting the youth, and finding ways to honor legacies without perpetuating pain. Yet in the immediate moment, emotions run high, and people respond based on the codes they've lived by. The reactions online and in the community show a divide, but also a clear leaning in certain spaces. Supporters of Dolph see Sammy as a hero who enforced respect. Others caution about the dangers of street justice overriding the legal system, warning it leads to more chaos. Both sides have points worth considering. The legal system, for all its flaws, exists to prevent endless feuds. But when it fails to deliver what people see as true accountability, especially in tight-knit cultures built on loyalty and reputation, alternative responses emerge. This case exemplifies that tension perfectly. Hernandez Goven's post-release choices amplified everything. Had he moved differently, quieter and more reflective, maybe the energy stays different. Instead, the pattern of visibility kept him in the crosshairs of those who never accepted the verdict. Diving deeper into young Dolph's influence, his story is one of triumph against odds. Growing up in challenging circumstances, he used rap as his outlet, turning personal experiences into anthems that motivated others. Tracks like Preach and Others captured the grind, the ambition, and the refusal to bow down. He invested in his people, created opportunities, and showed that independence could lead to real success. Paper Route wasn't just business, it was family. Artists under that umbrella carried forward his independent spirit. Losing him created a leadership vacuum that the community still feels. Tributes, memorial events, and continued music releases keep his name alive, but incidents like this reopen the scars. Castalia Sammy's move, whether you agree with the method or not, underscores how personal these loyalties remain years later. It's not fading away. The pull-up happened because the perceived disrespect crossed the line for him and those who share his views. In the video, you see the raw confrontation unfold, and it resonates because it feels like unfinished business being addressed. People share it not just for entertainment but as a statement. Hernandez Goven being on live made him an easy target, illustrating the risks of staying active in that space with that background. Street smarts would suggest more caution, but choices were made. Bringing this all together, the story starts with the tragic loss of a legend on that November day. It covers the investigation, the charges, the acquittal, the controversial post-case behavior, the personal tragedies, and culminates in this viral street confrontation. It's about loyalty that doesn't die, grief that fuels action, and the consequences of how one carries themselves after beating serious allegations. Young Dolph's legacy carries so much weight because he meant something authentic to the people. People don't just mourn and move on, they protect the memory. This incident is another chapter in that ongoing narrative. For newcomers, this breakdown connects the dots on why tensions stay alive. Subscribe if you want more real talk on these stories that mainstream outlets often gloss over. Drop comments on your thoughts about Sammy's pull-up, Goven's moves, the legal versus street perspectives, and the broader cycle of events. Like if this hit home and you want deeper dives. Long live young Dolph, Paper Route forever. The conversation continues because the respect runs that deep, and the community refuses to let the legacy fade into silence. This situation reminds everybody that some names still command action, some histories still demand acknowledgement, and in the end, the streets have their own way of balancing the scales when other systems fall short. It's complicated, emotional, and rooted in years of built-up feelings that one video brought rushing to the surface for the world to see.